Mayor Lube,
Here.
Youth Councilor Councilor Shaw.
Here.
Thank you, everyone. If you will mute your mics and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, everyone. Before we get to calling for non-agenda items tonight, I'd really like to start with making a general comment and a statement. You know, the violent events in Israel and Gaza over the weekend really remind us how connected our world is and how events abroad impact many of us here at home. These past months and years have seen conflict, violence, hate, and trauma. We live in an incredibly difficult time. I want to be clear that here in Tigard, we condemn violence against the innocent. And those of you who are experiencing grief and fear, whether you're a longtime resident, a newer member of our community, a refugee, or a visitor, please know that you're welcome here and we support you. As part of being a welcoming community, we also have zero tolerance for any form of harassment or discrimination in our workplace or any related work environments. This includes our presence on social media and during city council meetings. Thank you. So I would like to ask council or city teammates, are there any non-agenda items today?
Hi, Mayor. None for us. The agenda is the same as we shared earlier. Thanks.
Excellent. We will start off with public comments. If you want to provide public comment, please call in now to get in the queue. The phone number is 503-966-4101, and anyone present in the room wanting to comment should sign up on the public comment form at the front of the room. We will start off with follow-up to previous public comment with Assistant City Manager Nyland.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. At last week's council meeting, we had one person call in with public comment. The caller talked about the recent TIF award. That would be the tax increment financing award for a new green development in the Tigard Triangle. The caller suggested that awards not be given to new developments, but rather funding should go towards incentive reuse of existing buildings. The community member did receive a response and that it wasn't an either or situation. To meet our housing and economic goals, we will need both retrofits, adaptive reuse, and new buildings. As far as fund hacks, this is more a reminder, especially as we see what is happening across the world. So today, October 10th, is World Mental Health Day. This day is dedicated to raising awareness about mental health and providing support and treatment options. One thing we can do is to take care of ourselves and to check in on others. So be kind, be patient, and do what you need to do to feel well, to be well, and feel safe. On that note, thank you for your time. That is my update for this evening.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager Nyland. Next on the agenda, we have a police update with Police Commander McDonald.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. I'm here tonight filling in for the chief. She was at a conference this week, and so you get to have me come to you this evening. Tonight, what I chose to bring to you was some of the staffing challenges that we have. I know that the chief has talked with you in the past about some of those, but what I wanted to highlight this month was specifically that part where it talks about personnel unavailable to work during the month. And what you see up there are some of the challenges that we have faced with people on long-term leave, whether it's family leave of a variety of different things. It could also be work-related injuries. We have a member that's deployed. He's in the military and he's currently deployed. So these are some of the challenges that we've faced with staffing. These are people that already work for us, right? In addition to trying to have those challenges of finding the right people to work in our community. However, there are some highlights here. We have one officer that is in the pre-academy. He gets to go to the academy next month. And we have two officers, Officer Ali and Rusconi, Officers Ali and Rusconi. They are graduating this Friday from the academy, and they will get back and hit the ground running here very shortly. So that is definitely a bright spot. And then additionally, we have, which is very encouraging, we have three very promising lateral applicants in our process at various stages in our process. So laterals are police officers that are working at other agencies, so that doesn't require us the time to send them to the academy, which saves us time and money. So that's very encouraging that we have those individuals in the queue as well. And then I had a couple of other highlights that aren't on the board that I wanted to just hit really quickly. We had, and I know that most of you had the opportunity to attend the police open house. We had over 800 community members that came out for that, which was very encouraging. It gave a great opportunity for us to show who we are as a department and allow people to come inside the building and see a variety of the different things that we do as a department and provide people an opportunity to ask questions, see some of our training and different things along those lines. And then finally, I wanted to end with a kind of a feel-good story. For a number of years, and it's appropriate because of today being National Mental Health Day. A number of years ago, we had a young woman in our community that was having some significant struggles with her mental wellness. And we had a number of interactions with her over the years. And recently, just this week, she reached out and she had seen a social media post about one of our sergeants, Sergeant Northcote, who has been recently promoted, or promoted about a year ago, but prior to that, he was on our mental health response team. And this social media post that we did jogged her memory, and she said, you know, I wasn't very kind to him one day, but he was very kind to me. And can you let him know that I'm sorry for the way I treated him, and he's made a difference in my life? So I thought that to be very appropriate. And I will say that that she is doing well, and she thanks the Tigard Police Department in large part for helping her kind of get on a straight path and move in the right direction. So a little bit of a feel-good story for you all tonight. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you, Commander McDonald. Does the council have any questions? Yes, Council President Hu.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commander McDonald. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I would like to thank Tigard PD for highlighting that in your video newsletter. So I encourage everybody to check it out on YouTube, your YouTube channel. So thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome.
Commander McDonald, I just want to go ahead and echo the Tigard Police Open House was a wonderful event for a lot of community members and families to come out. I mean, I know my own daughter got more police stickers and got to go in multiple different vehicles and make noise and just have a really wonderful time. And I think it's a testament that while we had a lot of Tigard community members, we also had community members from across the entire metro region saying things like, my police department doesn't do this, and we wanted to see what a police department was. And so I think we're redefining the expectations of what normalizing a police department and really being in community with each other and being a part of the community. And so it was wonderful to see the officers interacting, answering questions. We answered questions about the levy. And yeah, lots of fun. And like I said, I told the chief my daughter has not gotten rid of, let Cooper go, the prize at the end. And so there's some stiff competition to be Cooper's caretaker. I did have a question.
Yes.
Looking at the crime snapshot, I was particularly shocked to see the DUI, almost double from the previous year, from 6 in September last year to 13 in September of this year. And I was wondering if there was anything that you could, tell that happened. Was there an event that may have caused this, or any sort of trending? Because seeing DUIs tick up like that is a pretty concerning thing.
I think probably, Mayor, that's more of an anomaly just for the month. And if you're looking at it more balanced out over the year, it's more consistent for the year. We're actually down over the year. So I would say that there's probably a pretty good explanation in that maybe that last year our evening traffic safety officer was on vacation for a couple of weeks and may not have been this month or this September, so that could be something like that. So we would, for something like that, we like to look at it more of over the annual period, and for the year, DUIs are actually down just incrementally here in the city.
Yep, down is still good, but never like to see those spikes. Thank you. Councillor Shaw, did you have a question?
Thank you, Mayor. No, not a question. I was just going to echo your comments about the police open house. The really cool part was to see the drones. That was really neat. So, and just the different aspects of the city equipment. So thank you.
You bet.
All right. Thank you, Commander McDonald.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Next item on our agenda is the Tigard Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors Chair Tom Engel. Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. I think you have the printed report. I'm just going to highlight a few things. Before I get going, though, Commander, thank you for sharing an actually nice story, because there's no shortage of things that will depress us in the news, and it's just nice to be reminded that good things are going on. So thank you. First off on our list, Leadership Tigard, we've got a class of 15 people. SimSoc, for those of you who have been through that, has occurred today, so we probably have 15, probably 16 very, very tired people who are going through and reflecting on that exercise. I wanted to thank everybody, well, especially the folks from the city who have allowed your staff to come through. These are great experiences that help us see each other's points of view, and so thank you for that. Our Government Affairs Committee is meeting on the 19th at 1:30 at the Chamber. Also, just in terms of our advocacy, we're a little over halfway through our goal of $10,000 for the scholarship fund. So that would be a first for us, and that we're going to make that. We're going to make some good things happen there. Speed networking, October 26th. I used to think these things were a little bit silly, but the community that comes together in these things is just amazing. We get people of all kinds of backgrounds. Even last year, we had an attorney who was invited who decided to join the chamber. So it tells you there's some really good energy going on there, and people are learning more about what other people are doing and just what's going on in the community. It's businesses, it's nonprofits, etc. So I encourage you, even if you're not going to participate, please swing on by. It's a fun event. Networking and visibility, this is our schedule. There's one thing in particular, and this I think is just timing. On the 24th, we're having a lunch and learn, and one of our members, Kit Cloud, she works with professionals and employees who have ADHD. She has a background and a specialty in this. She's one of 2 people I know who work with professionals and entrepreneurs and leaders who have ADHD, and I think sometimes we just assume that these are hyperactive kids, and oftentimes these are really successful adults that could just use some help, working on some habits and what have you. So if you have staff or you're interested in this topic that have ADHD or any sort of behavioral health needs, I encourage you to swing by, and if you can't make it, perhaps reach out to Kit and just see what you can learn. I think that'd be a great resource for a lot of our employers. Just a reminder, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, please keep following us. The farmers market update. What I did not realize a few things here. The annual warmth drive is coming up for donations for Just Compassion Sundays, and apparently there is the pet and I had to read this really close. Trick or treat and kid, pet, child, and pet costume contests. So, if you have a kid that's looking really cute in that costume, or you have a dog that's, or animal for that matter, I don't think we discriminate based on canine status. So I encourage you to dress them up and present them for assessment, and we'll go from there. Finally, the last thing we just want to say is thank you, everybody, for the unanimous vote of approval for this is the Small Business Sustainability Fund. We welcome your counsel and your patience as we pull this together. We're committed to doing this well. So if there are any thoughts you have, please feel free to reach out. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. It was my favorite day to work the farmer's market, the Halloween day, to see all the kids coming through with all the costumes. So hopefully we see lots of kids in costumes again this year. Does anyone have any questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is the Tigard High School Student Envoy, Julie Hernandez, to report on Tigard High events and activities. Welcome.
Hi, Council. Happy to be back. It has been a few busy weeks at Tigard High School in all aspects. The 30th was our homecoming, and leadership was a huge part of leading up homecoming, ensuring all the Tigard High School students feel included and excited. One of those aspects was our Spirit Week, which was the week of the 25th to the 29th. And Monday was our pajama day, Tuesday was Jersey Out, Wednesday was Tigard Out, Thursday was Color Clash, and Friday was Neon Out to go along our football game. The 28th, we had our homecoming assembly, which was playing games, and the court was announced. And that day was actually Color Clash Day, and it turned out very well. And all the students, you can see all the grades if you looked above, and it was really cool. ASB Activities held their annual homecoming parade, which was themed pop culture, and it had a great turnout. Many people were excited to be a part of it and also just watch and get candy for their children and the students. And the 29th, during our halftime, the court was shown and our king and queen were revealed, and those two was George Henson and Nicole Potteronic. And our Human Rights Committee has started planning their Unity Week, which is super exciting. They're trying to do something new, but also include the important aspects that Unity Week usually does. And our National Honor Society and Interclub Council and Funds Committee are planning a trunk or treat, which is on October 22nd. And if you guys have any children or nieces or nephews, you guys should totally come. It's basically an event where the community, local staff, or just anyone can come trick or treat from cars. Like, it's super fun, and you see all the children in costumes and also the students, so it's super fun. In terms of sports, girls soccer is 5th in state. They're undefeated. They haven't lost anything, so it's super exciting. They also have a game today at 7 p.m. It's Neon Out, and our Tigard football has been going really well. They have 4 wins out of 6. Not only as a sport, but our student section has been really awesome. There's been a lot of, I guess a lot of students have been going and just showing off their colors and the themes. And cross country have been doing a lot of matches against many different schools. One of them was in Nike up in North Seattle, and they competed against numerous schools, which is a super fun thing they were telling me about. And girls volleyball won their last game against Lake Oswego. In terms of service, a lot of clubs have been starting to do a lot of service since it's the start of the new school year. A lot of students have been starting their own volunteer projects, which help other students get volunteer service. One of those is the Art of the Blurbs, which is Art in the Blurbs, and it's the 20th to the 29th, and you guys should all be there. Should be there. Sorry, no, you can go. Sorry, that's not really direct, but yeah, they're just selling art for art programs in the district, and volunteers are helping with cleanup, welcoming people, and selling raffle tickets. It's Service Club. They're tutoring children who do not have stable housing, which is a program of Family Promise, and they do that every Tuesday. And they're also helping with Art in the Blurbs, and it's going really well for Service. A lot of students are involved this year, so that's super exciting. And in terms of arts, we have a new musical called The Book of Will, which will be showing November 30th, December 1st, December 8th at 7 p.m. And we'd love to have you all there. And many students are deeply involved in the arts, are selling their pieces at the Art in the Blurbs. So that's super fun to see student involvement. Other than that, that's what's going on at Tigard High School. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Thank you. Y'all are busy. Does anybody have any questions? I'd like to know, how did your club rush go?
Oh, it went really well. I heard a lot of people join new clubs. I'm a part of Service Club, and we have a total of like 140 students part of Service Club. Many don't show up to the meetings, but we have a lot of signups. So that's super exciting. Maybe we can encourage them too. But I heard there's a lot of freshmen reaching out to clubs at a very young age, which is really good. So I think it went fantastic.
I think snacks usually help people to show up, and the free food brings people in.
Definitely.
But that's great. That's wonderful. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. Thank you so much, Julie. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
The next item on our agenda is written public comment, and we did not receive any written public comment by Monday at noon. And for in-person public comment, if there are any, I will turn it over to Council President Hu, because he can see the list.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 people sign up for public comment. First one is, I believe it's Denise Olson. Is that correct? Hi, Denise, please come forward and please turn on the camera, not the camera, the microphone to green. And after you introduce yourself, you have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Denise Olson. I've lived in Tigard for 35 years. This is my second time here. This is Gimpy, fondly named by the children in Summer Lake Park. This is her after picture. This is her before picture. My goal in being here tonight is to stop the fishing in Summer Lake Park. In this picture, she has almost 2 feet of fishing line around her leg. The vet said she would have lost her leg if it had been any longer. In this picture, it's after surgery, and she's doing fine and re-released into the park. I had a meeting last night here with the Parks Department, and they seem to be in agreement with stopping the fishing here in the park, in Summer Lake Park, because of the trash, the beer cans, and this, and the people that are causing problems. So they're going to contact you, I understand, and I just wanted to keep this alive, so in your memory, so everybody can remember what is going on. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? Yeah, okay. That's it.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Denise.
Pardon me?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next we have Sean Martinez. Sean? Welcome. Oh, I see Eliza with you.
Oh, she's back there.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor, City Council, thank you for giving us a few minutes to talk.
Sure.
We wanted to talk about our Safe Routes to School program. We have an amazing coordinator, Hendrik, back here that's doing an awesome job, and I'm sure you'll talk some numbers later about our most recent Walk and Roll to School Day, which is a huge success at Metzger Elementary School. We always have a huge participation from our families at Metzger. But only on walk and roll to school days. So it's something that I want to talk about is how can we keep that momentum going? The day after walk and roll to school day, everybody gets back in their cars and drives to school. And we have an enormous amount of cars. It's very car-centric around our schools during drop-off and pickup times. And I'm just trying to figure out how we can change that, get more families walking and rolling. The biggest complaint I hear is that families are afraid of traffic, right, around our schools. So they will then climb into another car and create more traffic near the schools. So we have to break that cycle somehow. I just want to keep that in your mind. Metzger in particular, we have to cross two different ODOT facilities, right? We have Southwest Hall Boulevard on one side, and we have Highway 217 on the other that families have to come over Greenberg Road to get to. So whatever funding we can prioritize to get more families out walking and rolling. There are very few sidewalks, high-speed roads, very dangerous, and I would appreciate it if you could help us out and get more kids walking and rolling. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Eliza, for coming. Anybody else who didn't sign up want to provide public testimony? I see none, so back to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Council President Hu. Next, we have phone in or video comment. Mr. Wold, is there any phone callers in the queue or any requests to comment by video this evening?
Mayor, there are no callers in the queue and no requests for video testimony.
Okay, thank you so much. And we will go now to the administrative report with City Manager Reimer.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, good evening, Mayor, members of the council, members of the community, and my teammates. Today was a really great day for 31 of us from Team Tigard. We joined about 1,000 others from around the region at the 30th Annual Northwest Public Employees Diversity Conference that was held at the Convention Center. So really a great gathering of individuals from all the different public agencies in our region as well as in Southern Washington. Just had a phenomenal day of speakers and ideas shared. I think a few takeaways is we should be proud of a lot of the things that we're doing here. We should be proud that 31 teammates wanted to go to the conference, all the different things, the leadership of the council and others on our team. Also, there's a lot of great ideas and opportunities for Tigard, ideas that we can bring here to continue to improve how we're really embracing and being that community and the organization where everyone feels like they belong. And so there was a lot of conversation about belonging today, which is great to hear because that's what we've really embraced as well. And so as we kind of debrief from that, hopefully we'll be bringing ideas forward that the council can learn about, that how we're improving our organization, and ultimately improving our community to make sure that this is a place that people want to be. So thanks again to the 31 teammates that joined myself and many others at that conference. Speaking of just a great team, hopefully many of you had a chance to be at our second annual El Tigre Fest at Cook Family Park this weekend. What a great event, overwhelming success, response by the community, the number of vendors we had there, from the food and the arts and the crafts and the variety of things, the music, was just another great day. We had many teammates involved in that, and a special shout out to Leandro and Tina for their efforts in making that happen, along with many, many others. So I just want to make sure that people realize that as well. Part of the team that was there was our library team, and so you may have seen them in the Kids Zone area, talking to families, just about a variety of things that we have going on at the library. We ended up distributing 120 books in both English and Spanish, registered about another 20 people for library cards as we continue down that path of getting people involved in our library and the great resource that it is. Speaking of library cards, so we just had a National Library Card Sign-Up Month, and this year we ended up just short of 300 new card holders, so 297 card holders, which is up from 67% from last year's registration drive, if you will. So great work by our library team and all of their efforts. And then one more thing about our library is we have a new piece of equipment there now, a library document station that's on the second floor for the community to use. There's no login, there's no fee to use it. It's just a chance for community members that need access to some technology to scan documents, create searchable PDFs and other things that they can do there. So thanks for your support in making sure that we can continue to look at ways of serving our community at the library. And that concludes my comments for this evening. Thanks.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for City Manager Reimer? Yes, Council President Hu.
Thank you, Mayor. I was at Tigray and talking to the vendor, the owner of Harvest Moon Experience, and she said that this is the most organized event she have ever attended. So big kudos to city teammates for their excellent job.
I will pass it on. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. And the consent agenda is used for routine items, including minutes and approval of contracts or intergovernmental agreements. Information on each item is available on the city's website in the packet for this meeting. Items may be enacted in one motion without separate discussion. Council members may request that an item be removed by motion for discussion and separate action. Today on the consent agenda, we have a contract for Public Works Yard washdown facility improvements. Are there any questions, comments, or a motion? Feel free just to make it. You don't need to raise your hand.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
And I can second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Will the city recorder please conduct a roll call vote?
Councillor Singh,
Yes.
Councillor Wolf,
Yes.
Council President Hu,
Yes.
Mayor Lube,
Yes.
Councillor Shaw.
Yes.
Okay. The motion is adopted by unanimous vote of the council. Thank you, everyone. The next item is the Audit Committee bylaws, and we have Finance Director Kang and Budget Manager Plath to give the staff report. Welcome.
I apologize. Slight correction. Joining me today is Audit Committee Chair Nikki Walker.
Hello.
Thank you. Welcome, Nikki.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. It's good to see you all. For the record, my name is Eric Kang, Finance Director. So as I mentioned before, joining today is the Audit Committee Chair Nikki Walker, and today we're bringing forward to Council a resolution to adopt the bylaws of the Audit Committee. To give you some background on the Audit Committee, the committee was first established by Council resolution back in 2012 to establish an independent body, governing body to oversee the annual financial audit. This was a 3-member committee that consisted of 1 councilor or mayor, 1 or 2 current or prior budget committee members, and if only 1 budget committee member was chosen, a third from the community would be selected at large. Over time, the scope of the membership of the committee has evolved, including back in 2018 when another council resolution was passed to add 2 more community members at large and expanding the total membership to 5. And then the scope of the committee was expanded to include the overseeing of the performance audit. Later in 2020, the additional scope and the membership size was made permanent by council resolution, which brings us to where we are here today. So with the changes in the audit committee, over time as an advisory body, staff is recommending adopting bylaws as a best practice to clearly articulate the roles and responsibilities of the audit committee and to provide greater clarity in ambiguous areas, specifically around term durations, role of the committee chair, role of the alternate, and role of the council liaison, and ultimately the responsibilities of the committee. And with that, now I'll turn it over to Chair Nikki.
Thank you. As noted, my name is Nikki Walker. I'm the current chair of the Audit Committee. I joined the Audit Committee in 2021 as an alternate. In 2022, became a voting member. This is my first year as chair. The bylaws were brought to the committee on August 4th. That was my test. And there were minimal changes from the committee, all of which were adopted. The bylaws were then sent to the city attorneys to make sure that everything was good, sent back to the committee, and there have been no changes. Therefore, we recommend adopting as presented. Does anyone have any questions?
We're happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Does anyone have any questions? I just have, I guess reading through the bylaws reminded me about the performance audit, and I was trying to remember, was it 3 or 4 years ago? Because it said one needed to be done every 5 years, so I wonder where we were in the cycle.
If I remember off the top of my head, I'll have to, there is I believe it's between a 4 and 7 year period cycle, and the last one was done in 2020, so It's in the next couple years.
Okay, thank you. If there are no questions, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the resolution?
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 23-30.
I'll second the motion.
Oh,
Okay, thank you, Councillor Shaw, for the second. The resolution has been moved and seconded. Would the city recorder please read the number and title of the resolution?
Resolution number 23-30, a resolution adopting the Audit Committee bylaws.
Will the youth councillor please give an advisory vote?
Yes.
Thank you. All of those in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion is adopted by unanimous vote of the council. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Okay, the next item on our agenda is a resolution of necessity related to the easement acquisition for the Murdoch Street Sidewalk and Stormwater Project. And we have Engineering Project Manager Peck to give the staff report. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you said, my name is Jeff Peck. I'm a project manager for the Public Works Engineering Division. And I'm here to present on the Murdoch Street Sidewalk Stormwater Improvement Project. Murdoch Street is a narrow neighborhood street with little to no shoulder space along most of the roadway. Steep drainage ditches line the road in some spots, making walking space very limited. This project will create a safe route along Murdoch Street from Southwest 103rd Avenue to Southwest 96th Avenue for both pedestrians and cyclists. The project will install 1,700 lineal feet of 8 to 10 foot wide shared use pathway between 103rd and 97th. And it will also install approximately 300 feet of 6 foot wide sidewalk between 97th and 96th, which will make a direct ped and bike connection to the entrance of Templeton Elementary School. The improvements will require blending new driveway approaches to existing driveways with temporary construction easements, acquiring properties for the shared use pathway construction, and acquiring a permanent drainage easement for a stormwater treatment facility. We are looking at approximately 18 temporary construction easements, 5 right-of-way acquisitions, and 1 permanent storm drainage easement. And I'm here to ask council to consider approval of a resolution of necessity to begin negotiations with properties for the acquisition of the easements and right-of-way, and if necessary, to condemn the properties and take immediate possession as a last resort if good faith negotiations fail. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council? Yes, Council President Hu.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the answer you provide to my question about what a homeowner usually expect payment for temporary easement. And I believe you mentioned that some homeowners decide to donate that money. So is it easy for homeowner to do that if they choose to? What's the process if they choose not to accept payment for temporary construction easement?
It may just be signing. It may just be signing the easement itself.
Okay.
If they're receiving payment, we usually ask for a W-9 from the property owner, and then we cut a check and pay them for that. But like I said, it may just be the temporary construction easement. Those we typically don't record. It's just an agreement
Right.
between the city and the property owner with a limited duration of time.
Okay.
What I've seen in my limited experience is people tend to voluntarily donate property, and they feel like they're getting a less taxable property that they feel like they don't need. That's generally the only time I see that happening.
Okay. So people usually can be made aware that they can, for example, for temporary construction easement if they want to not to accept payment. That's an option to them.
Yeah, so our right-of-way team, when they start talking to these properties, they'll put it out there as an option
Okay.
for the properties.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I move to approve resolution number 23-31.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for the resolution 23-31. Will the city recorder please read the number and title of the resolution?
Resolution number 23-31, a resolution declaring the need to acquire property for the Murdoch Street Sidewalk and Stormwater Improvement Project and authorizing eminent domain and immediate possession if necessary.
Will the youth counselor please give an advisory vote?
Yes.
Thank you. All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion is adopted by unanimous vote of the council. Thank you so much, Mr. Peck.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda today is the Tigard Safe Routes to School program for the 23-25 school year update. And we have Safe Routes to School program coordinator Brofelshine. I'm working on it. We'll give the staff report. Welcome.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor Lube and City Council members. This presentation will serve to provide an update for the Safe Routes to School program, specifically within the framework of the newly enacted intergovernmental agreement with the Tigard-Tualatin School District. So as a brief reminder, we signed the intergovernmental agreement in May of this year, and the goal of that agreement is to outline tasks and deliverables for both parties to work towards together with the ultimate goal of expanding the Safe Routes to School program. And we recently held our first TTSD Core Safe Routes to School group meeting in August. And one of the main outcomes of that is in the next slide, a timeline for this year's scope of work. And I'll take an opportunity to do two quick things here. One is to recognize Sean Martinez, who is an invaluable supporter of the Safe Routes to School program. He leads our only regular bike train from Metzger Park to Metzger School every Wednesday. And so he is much appreciated. Thank you, Sean. And also I'll point out on this timeline that we do have a goal to start discussing how to incorporate more walking school buses and bike trains. And that will go through a process with the TTSD administration to discuss how best to do that with considerations of liability, challenges at schools, and who ultimately would take responsibility for leading these regular events. But that is a task we will work on this year and hope to come up with a clear process to move forward. So one of the events that we just completed that one could see on this timeline is on the next slide. We just finished our October Walk and Roll to School event. Some of the highlights for this event were that 10 schools participated. One of those schools was the new Art Rutkin Elementary that had 3 walking school buses that Wednesday. So that was a pretty big success to get a new school right into the program right off the bat. We like to get the schools in early. And at schools, we saw similar participation as our May event. So in our May event, we had 60% of students that walked, biked, or bused to school instead of driving single-family car rides. This event, we had 58%, which isn't necessarily surprising because our spring events tend to be slightly more robust. We have a little bit more time to plan these events and get the word out. So still very happy with the event. And I want to highlight 2 specific items for this year. We took on an equity item and we translated our Walk and Roll to School flyer in 6 separate languages in order to reach more families. And those languages were suggested by TTSD as the primary languages spoken of families at homes. A second thing that we tried to do different this year was to consider the goodies we give away, to have fewer stickers and plastic single-use items, and instead focus on things that are more environmentally friendly. Specifically, one really cool item we had was a biodegradable paper leaf with wildflower seeds in it, so students could plant that, water, and watch them grow. That was a fun way to move away from stickers. And then we also included hand stamps, and so that helped reduce some of what some people would consider to be items that become trash very quickly. Moving on to the next slide, we also had 2 bike rodeos this fall. One was in Tigard and one was in Tualatin. And this year, which was new, we collaborated with the PD Open House to have our bike rodeo alongside their event. And that was a really nice chance to sort of say thank you to PD, because for all of my Tigard bike rodeos in the past, PD typically shows up with an officer, and Maddie Bauer will typically show up to help support those events. So this was a really fun way to be able to say thank you and support one of their events. And of note, we did give away 250 helmets, which is far and beyond any number of helmets I've ever given out at one event. So I was really excited to do that, and had a lot of fun with a bunch of kids practicing bike skills on 4 different activities. It was very busy, but very successful. So that was a fun event. We had a second bike rodeo in Tualatin at Tualatin Elementary. This one only had 1 family show up, but anybody showing up to an event is a success for me. And one big positive was I was able to work with one of the 2 girls that showed up, and she learned how to ride a bike for the first time. So that was exciting. One equity item to discuss on these is we use tools like Portland Metro's regional Safe Routes to School walkshed analysis tool, and also Tigard has its own tool to plan out what neighborhoods typically need more resources or don't historically get the resources that other neighborhoods do. So I just wanted to share that we use those kind of tools when we plan these locations. So Tualatin Elementary falls into a neighborhood that has a social vulnerability score that makes sense for us to have an event there. And for next year's event, I've already started working with the city of Tualatin to find a location closer to Bridgeport Elementary by Atfalati Park, as there's a lot of multifamily complexes there. This year I did actually go to some of those complexes to flyer for our Tualatin event, and I put up some flyers for the first time in laundry rooms and around the neighborhood there. We didn't get a huge turnout, but I'm happy that we are trying different ways to reach all families and all residents in both Tigard and Tualatin. Our next slide shows photos from our recent education. I completed 2nd grade pedestrian and scooter education and 5th grade bike safety education at Durham Elementary. Here are some fun photos from those efforts. And we reached 88 2nd grade students and 101 5th grade students. 9 students learned how to bike for the first time. And one equity item we worked on, or we continually do, is providing free helmets to remove any financial barriers. And in one of these photos, you can see we also have bikes with training wheels. And this year, that's all that was needed to be able to support our students with disabilities. But I also typically check in with schools if they need further adaptive equipment, which wasn't the case for this school, but we have spring coming up, so that's always a conversation I like to have. On our next slide, we've had the opportunity to work with TTSD on 2 circulation items. This is a picture of Tigard High School, and this conversation began last spring, but we are currently going to install some delineators and right turn only signage from the Tigard parking lot to help with some traffic congestion that the school has had some difficulties with, and we think this will really help the flow of traffic alongside with the Durham Adaptive Light Project. So this is one example of how we're able to work together and solve similar problems or similar challenges. And we also recently worked with CF Tigard to extend some of the green lights on 99 West. And that should hopefully be helpful, but I still need to check in with the principal, as it's been about 2 weeks now since those lights were increased, the green lights, to help clear out traffic a little faster off of Walnut. So we hope to do more of that kind of work this year, and our timeline shows that, and it's just sort of figuring out the best way to do that. On our next slide are some updates for our ODOT competitive construction grants. We are well on our way with our Metzger Locust project, and we're at the 90% review of the project, and next steps will be to prepare a construction bid package and to solicit invitations to contractors to bid. And Jeff Peck, who presented earlier, is in charge of that project. We also have our newly awarded Templeton Tuolumne construction grant, where we received $2 million. And that is now at the beginning of the design phase. And we've recently updated our webpage and are starting to plan for our open house, likely in January. And finally, I'd want to open up to any questions that any of the city council members might have.
Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions from council? Yes, Councillor Shaw.
Great. Thank you so much. A uplifting report, and having seen the bike rodeo at the police open house, it was really exciting, particularly when they got smiles on their faces with their new helmets. But question, so in case folks don't know, what is a delineator? You had mentioned that, I believe it was on your third to last slide. If you could just describe what that delineator is that will assist with traffic.
Yes, a delineator is sort of a raised bump that's, of a certain length, and typically has things like candlesticks on them that creates a very clear delineation between where the road is separate, where the road is divided. And when you put those where people often are making left turns, where in this case we don't want that to happen, that will put a barrier in between cars trying to make those left turns and keep them turning right. So those yellow lines in this image are delineators. And if you could focus on that center driveway, for example, with that raised delineator with candlestick, which are basically plastic pencil-shaped upright delineators, cars won't be able to make that left turn, and instead will be forced to make a right turn there.
Thank you. Perhaps, Mayor, one additional question. Since this seems like it's a pretty major change on a major thoroughfare for Tigard, is there going to be some communication about that? Because I know in the city of Portland, they have something similar and didn't necessarily do a great job on communication. There was a lot of miscommunication and just what it was. So is that something that we plan on providing?
I don't have a firm answer for that. One of my understandings is people aren't really supposed to be making left turns here with or without the delineator. So it's not necessarily changing the flow of traffic, it's more enforcing what is the appropriate behavior. So I think that's kind of where we're at with putting these in.
Are there any additional questions? I will just say, so I participated in the Walk and Roll to School Day for Art Ruckin, and those kids were pumped. They were so excited, and I was told about half the school ended up participating in Walk and Roll, which is pretty incredible for a school that's just starting. But the parents had to run to keep up because the kids were so excited that they kept running ahead. It was super fun to be a part of. Okay. Seeing no additional questions, thank you so much for being here and for reporting on what you have ahead for us.
Thank you.
We don't have any non-agenda items this evening, and there is no executive session scheduled, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I move to adjourn.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. Will the city recorder please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes.
Counselor Wolf,
Yes.
Council President Hu,
Yes.
Mayor Lube,
Yes.
Counselor Shaw.
Yes.
Okay, the motion is adopted by unanimous vote of the council. We are adjourned. Thank you so much. Good night, Tigard.
Night, Tigard.